For the past few years, I've been spending my free time working on an action roguelite game set in a world of floating islands. You're equipped with a transforming bow that can swap between short bow and long bow on the fly, and you use this to battle against enemies and complete islands. You're accompanied by this cute guy. You found power-ups which help you construct really interesting builds and let you do cool stuff like this. You fight against big titans like this angry boy. And you do all that in the name of adventure and cat treats. After many years of development, my game is finally ready to release in early access. After a mild panic attack that something was going wrong during the release process, my indie game was finally out there. Early access marks the end of a really long journey to get Tetraphobia into a releasable state where I felt I could sell it to customers. It also marks the beginning of a new journey where I start to involve the community a lot more in the development of the game. Throughout, there'll be content releases with 2 new regions being added, along with a bunch of gameplay and refinement tweaks that I'd like to make. The journey starts at a very exciting place: bug fixes. Once the game was out in early access, I was mainly on standby for any major issues that might be reported by any of the community members or customers that bought the game. I decided to just catalogue everything at this point, not intending to fix it all, but at least having a record that these bugs existed, and then I would intend to fix them later. Special shoutouts to Vozinger on the Discord server, who was really helpful in listing all of the issues he'd found. The first 3 bugs that I wanted to address were quite simple fixes, but they had a big impact on how the player might perceive the game. The first bug was an issue with Xbox Elite controllers not working. I just had to update the plugin that I use for input support, and that fixed this issue. Next, there was a small issue with one of the power-up selection screens. These happen every 4th run, and it lets the user select a unique modifier that's going to apply to their next run. Sadly, there was an issue with one of these power-ups being applied, and it caused the user to get locked at this screen. Again, this was quite another quick fix. It just required me to make sure that that specific power-up was applying its effect correctly. And lastly, there was another issue that would cause the island portals to not lock when you entered a room. This was really problematic, as it could allow players to just rush through the entire map and get straight to the boss without needing to fight any enemies. This was due to an issue with one of the power-ups trying to apply its effect when you first enter a room, and that failing. It would result in the code that's supposed to close the rooms not running. To fix this, I made sure that that power-up was working correctly. I also added some more robust code around the room locking functionality that should stop this problem ever happening again. With those 3 issues resolved, I started working on some of the more involved bug fixes that would take a bit more time. One of the more game-breaking bugs was the ability to get stuck in this permanently falling loop. This is caused by a system that tries to place the player back into a location when they're falling off the map. To solve this issue, I just made sure that before I teleported the player back to their respawn location, it was definitely a place that was on terrain. If it wasn't, I used a different location that's always guaranteed to be on the island. The next bug was a problem that would allow players to jump on top of obstacles, which was particularly damaging for this mushroom boss. To give our mushroom boss a fighting chance, I started looking at the colliders on the bushes just to make sure that they weren't too low. The more I was looking into this issue, the more I started to question why the bushes even existed on the islands in the first place. They were mainly there for cosmetic reasons, and they actually kind of hindered the player's ability to move around the island successfully. With that in mind, it kind of felt like maybe this boss room would just be better without any of these bushes at all, so I decided to just remove them and give that a try. I was really happy with how this turned out. It really gave players a much bigger arena to navigate around, and I found it was a lot easier to kite the mushroom if I stuck to the very edges of the island. This kind of forces you to use the longbow as well, since you're too far away from the boss to use the short bow, and just really gave an interesting way for players to fight this boss. There was a couple of issues that could allow the player to get into a weird state where they could control the character when they weren't supposed to be able to. This could be caused by opening the minimap at a weird time, or on a specific power-up screen. While the impact of these were pretty minimal, it was also quite an easy fix to get in. It was just an extra check. The last bug I took a look at was an issue that was stopping one of the achievements from popping. This is awarded for players killing 4 enemies with a perfectly released bomb. It was another quick fix, and it could let the players that were trying to grind all 100% achievements finally get there. This wrapped up the second round of bug fixing, and again I pushed out a patch. Thanks for watching the first Tetraphobia vlog. Although bug fixes are not the most exciting vlog to start with, they're a very real part of development and I wanted to capture that. In the next vlog I'll be focusing more on how I'm going to balance the game and some game design changes that I hope will help players get more hooked into Tetraphobia early. If you want to support this vlog series, please consider purchasing or wishlisting Tetraphobia on Steam. You can find the link in the comment. Thanks for watching and I'll catch you in the next one.